All right, so let's get straight to it. I am here to talk about one of the topics in communication in healthcare, which is receiving complaints. So just give me a minute. All right, so we are at it, and I'm sharing my screen. So receiving complaints, as we know, healthcare communication is as it is a primitive stage, and many healthcare professionals, although they would like to believe that they're really good at communication, but they know a very kind of a superficial part of communication as such. So that's a huge topic to talk about. Today, I'm going to stick to talking about receiving complaints and what, and the practical points and what are the steps, if there are any, that you can keep in mind when you are having somebody complain to you, a patient or a family member or anyone, and whether in person or on phone or etc. So according to research, then a lot of studies in communication and in complaint management as such. A lot of studies kind of presented, and this study particularly is very interesting. So this was done in Germany, in Dutch Healthcare Consumer Panel. And this study was done on two groups, one group comprised of physicians and one group comprised of general public. So the study showed that both the groups kind of agreed that it is the physician's responsibility to ask if the patient has a complaint. And both the groups also agreed this is lacking, completely lacking. And both the groups agreed on one more point, which was that they're not open about topics like this, about complaints as such. Complaints are seen as a very negative. I mean, there's a lot of negativity surrounding the word complaint as it is. So there's lack of openness about it in general public, and of course the healthcare providers. The patients who submitted a complaint, they felt that they were wrong, and there were expectation gaps of more than 50%, by which I mean that they kind of also felt that the complaints will not be taken care of in a transparent manner. Because the way complaints were received were not transparent, they also felt that the process, how the complaint will be looked at, and the outcome of the complaint will also not be transparent, and it will be biased towards the provider, which is huge, right? So this is something that made me think about what we can do in bringing more transparency in the receiving complaints as it is. So that's kind of the moment of truth, and that's kind of the moment where, if everything goes right, we have a lot of room for getting that patient come on board as a loyal patient. So I have a story to tell around this. And this is a true story. Mrs. Anita was suffering from some stomach issues, and the doctor had asked her to get admitted for a day in a daycare facility and get some laparoscopy and some other tests done, so as to just rule out whatever differential diagnosis that the doctor had. At the same time, there was this hospital that had newly being built, and they were doing a lot of marketing, good marketing, and around they had beautiful infrastructure, they had beautiful advertisements coming out in the newspaper, and everybody around that area was aware that this hospital is built and they are doing a lot in terms of marketing. So Mrs. Anita also insisted the doctor if she could get admitted in that hospital and get the test done. Unfortunately, the doctor was on panel of the hospital, and the doctor agreed. When she called for the appointment, she was told that if she comes early by 8 a.m., she would be free by 1 p.m., which meant that she would get all her tests done, and she would be done in half a day's time. She agreed to it. She reached the hospital on the day of appointment at 8 a.m. However, because of some emergency and some other chaos in the hospital, she was given a bed only at 1 p.m. Although she was a very understanding patient. She is a very understanding patient, and she understood that looking at the chaos and looking at the kind of emergency cases were coming, she was fine with it. When she was allotted the room, one nurse came in and she kind of showed the room, and then she said that I'll be back with you in a moment. So Mrs. Anita waited. She waited for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes passed, 30 minutes passed. No one came. She kind of got worried that she may have been forgotten. She thought that maybe that person has forgotten that I'm here. So she pressed the call button. The nurse came in with real anger and frustration on her face. The nurse just said, "Hey, I told you I'll be with you in a moment." So that was the tone. I mean, uh, मैंने बोला मैं आपके साथ मैंने बोला मैं आ जाऊंगी मैंने बोला मैं आ रही हूँ something like that. I mean, the tone was not right. The tone was really rude, really angry, and that made Mrs. Anita uncomfortable because, first of all, she had come at 8 a.m. She waited for a room till 1 p.m. And now that the room was provided, no one was there to guide her or start the test, etc. After some time, this nurse came in, the technicians came in, the tests were done. She was free to go home by evening, and luckily, all her tests came negative. So that was a good thing. Next day or the following few days, Mrs. Anita, whoever she spoke to, and there were many relatives who called her to ask about the diagnosis and ask if she was doing okay. She told anyone and everyone about the experience she had had and how negative was the experience and how bad she felt and how at a loss she felt. She felt that there was no one to look after her and she felt at a disadvantage. She even told the doctor about it, and probably that would have done more damage. Maybe more patients wouldn't want to get admitted in that hospital, including Anita and Anita's family members. So this is what I mean. There are a lot of lacunae in the story in terms of how one small fix could have made everything right, and the uncontrolled complaint that Mrs. Anita vented on the phone to her relatives, etc., could have been saved. Um, so in a way, we try to run away from complaints. However, there are multiple studies saying that if you encourage complaints, if people attend to your complaint, if you are allowing people to complain to you, the harm is much lesser. And the reasons are to start with, that dissatisfied customers are more likely to return to you if they were able to complain. And so when they complained, you listen to them, you showed concern, and you reassured the patient that you will take care of the problem. As simple as that. You allowed the patient to speak to you. You listened to the patient. You told the patient that you'll take care of it. You showed concern. Inexpensive, right? It doesn't cost anything to do that. And even in terms of time, it hardly takes a few minutes. That's it. Complaints are a second chance that we have to correct whatever has gone wrong and to turn that angry patient or a dissatisfied patient into a satisfied, loyal patient. Resolving a complaint equals directly to loyalty. If you're able to give a resolution to the complaint, the patient is yours. The patient is yours for a long time. Ignoring complaints equals to damage to reputation. When you don't listen to someone, they get hurt and they speak about it in the public forum or social media. Now, because social media is a double-edged sword, we get to speak to patients. Then there are complaints out there which other people read, and negativity spreads faster, which we all know. Have so much control on what's being said, what's being written on social media. So before the complaint goes there, should be able to get the patient to complain to us, right? We get valuable information about the gaps in our services, in our processes, in our infrastructure, etc., from the complaints. Because of the ease of complaints to legal authorities and social media, and there are websites which are so there is one website from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare where you can directly go and lodge a complaint. We have done everything. Um, just going through the entire complaint procedure is resource intensive. You end up spending too much time on correcting things that have gone wrong. Instead, if you were able to prevent it, it would have really, not just all benefits, but also loss of time could have been saved. Right? Once you, as a person, are able to solve a complaint, resolve a complaint, you feel increase in confidence level, and that kind of makes you grow, helps you grow in your organization or in industry as such. We know that they come to us for getting better. They are suffering from an ailment that they want to get free of, they want to get treated for. Apart from that, that's one need, I would say. What are the other needs of your patients, which are equally important? Okay, they want control over their lives. They want to know what's happening to them. They want to know if it's a family member wants to know what's happening with the relative, what's happening with their family member in terms of treatment, what all is going to happen and what's going to be the outcome. They want control over that. They want a control over outcome. They want a control over the process. They want to be involved, basically. They want to achieve goals. They want to achieve goals of being better, feeling better. And if they feel mission, the organization is not aligned and will not help me achieve goals, they get disheartened, and that leads to complaints. They want to preserve self-esteem. They don't want to be told what to do as it is. They want to be included in the decision making. They want to be respected. Basically, they want to be treated fairly. Doesn't matter what caste, creed, background, economy they belong to, they want to be treated fairly. They want a friendly reception. It shouldn't be like they come to your hospital and you look at them, stare at them like, oh God, not you again. Okay, they want a friendly reception. They want to know what's going on. If a particular test or a battery of tests is prescribed, they want to know why, and they want to know what's going to be the outcome and how is that going to help. Okay, although at present it may sound like too much of information that you're going to give to the patient, but honestly, if you start implementing these things or just keep these elements at the back of your mind, everything is going to fall in place. And prevention always is better than cure. We know that, being in healthcare, we talk about it to all the patients, but we ourselves don't kind of follow it, not just in terms of our own health, which is a separate topic altogether, but in terms of taking care of our patients, making sure that whatever we are doing kind of, it's a holistic thing. It's a holistic care, not just coming, operating and going. That's the time is gone. And today um, people want all of these things along with the treatment that they are looking for, right? They want security. They don't want to come to the hospital to get harmed. They come with one disease and go with two. That's not what they want. They want approval, acceptance, and recognition. They want that. They want to feel important. They want to be appreciated for the efforts they're taking. If they have read something on the internet, instead of telling them Google is bad, reading on the internet is bad, those times are gone, right? Today, everybody reads on the internet. And we have to, instead of being defensive, appreciate that, saying that, sir, I really appreciate that you've been proactive in knowing about your condition. Just saying that much will kind of break that wall between you and the patient. right? They want a sense of belonging. They don't want to made to feel uncomfortable. They want honesty. If something has bad outcome, it has bad outcome. Be honest about it. Okay. So any of those points, any of those needs not met, could be a reason why customers complain. And what does a complaining customer want? They want to be listened to. That is the first and foremost, the most important want of a complaining customer. If in fact, even in your personal life, if your spouse keeps complaining to you all the time, and you notice that they keep complaining again and again, if you think about it, you will know that probably they have not felt heard, and that's why they feel the need to repeat it again. If you give them one honest moment of listening honestly, and I'll talk about listening in maybe next sessions, in next videos, you'll be able to I'll be able to list down what are the steps you can follow to become a better listener. But to start with, just keep in mind that you need to listen to the patient, and that's what that complaining customer wants to be taken seriously. They don't want to. They don't want. They so if you as a person go and complain to someone else about their services, and you feel that they are kind of not paying attention, they are fidgeting around with something, they're typing something, or the non-verbals, like the tone, the expressions, the body language isn't respectful, it hurts more than the damage itself, it hurts more than the complaint itself, right? They want immediate action, or at least be told the process of handling the complaint. They want to be told it's going to take 2 days, 4 days, 6 days, 7 days, whatever. They want either an immediate action wherever possible, or give a timeline, give the process and the timeline. They want compensation. Sometimes, in some cases where the customer has been harmed financially, or has you know undergone some tests which were not necessary. For example, anything that is to do with financial aspects, they want to be compensated, and that's still a much lesser cost than having that patient go around making legal cases, or talking to other people about the negativity at the hospital. So follow the process, tell the patient this is the process, and at the end of it, I'll be able to tell you about the compensation, or whatever happens, I'll be able to tell you about the outcome, or so and so team will contact you, etc. They want someone to be reprimanded and punished in case one particular person has been rude to them or has done something wrong. They probably want that person to be reprimanded or punished. Clear the problem so it never happens again. In about 80% of the cases, interestingly, customers just want to be heard and be told that this will be taken care of so that it does not affect anyone else. That's all they want. They just want that you go and resolve that problem so that it doesn't happen again. As simple as that. What are the types of dissatisfied customers? Interestingly, based on the way they react to a problem, and the way and the kind of outcome they want, there are three broad classifications of three broad types of customers. The first is a passive responder. A passive responder is someone who does not complain, who does not get angry. They keep their anger to themselves. They don't show that anger to you. Even if something grossly has gone wrong, they will not talk about it to you. They'll keep it to themselves. Once they cross the premises of the hospital or premises of your clinic, they will go around talking to everyone about it. They'll put it on social media. They'll whenever and wherever they have an opportunity to talk about it, they will do that, which is really harmful. And the way to handle these patients is to allow them to open up. There are certain ways you can do that. One is to just pay a little attention on their body language and their tone. If you sense that they are being sarcastic, or if you sense that they are not saying anything to you, not responding to you properly, or if you sense that they kind of have stiffened, Okay, the muscles have stiffened in the way that they've closed their body language. They have closed body language, as in their hands are not open anymore. It's closed. Their gait has changed. The way they walk has changed. Pay attention to that and ask about it. Be open about it and ask, sir, I would like to know if there's anything concerning you. I feel that we may have done something and I really want to help you. So please tell me, is there something that you would like to highlight? Okay. Aggressive responder. An aggressive responder is someone who gets angry and open, out, loud angry. They can sometimes even get physically and verbally abusive, which is, of course, not acceptable. Any physical verbal abuse is not acceptable. And there are, your hospital or the clinic must have a set protocol of handling that. But an aggressive responder sometimes also is just, showing their anger openly, coming and telling you what kind of service do you have. This is shit. This is bullshit. Whatever. I mean, so they will come out and tell you openly that this is the problem with your service. The way to handle these people are to listen to them without being judgmental, without kind of telling them that they are wrong in being angry, instead of legitimizing it, instead of saying that I understand why you're angry and I could have been angry just as much as you are if I had been in your situation. And let me understand from you the details of this issue, so that I'm able to understand it better and I'm able to resolve it better. Just let them vent it out. Once they're done, they'll be calm and they're most likely to return if they have been able to push their anger out in front of you without being judged. Okay? The problem solver is the best and the ideal kind of customer one can ever have. They are the people who will come to you with the problem and the solution. They'll come and tell you that this is wrong and this is how you should solve it. They are the people who should be respected for the effort that they are taking of coming to you with the problem as well as the solution. Respected, listened to just as much as the other two types. If possible or wherever possible, their solutions should be implemented as well. This will really help you or your organization a long, long way. Or they should be told that I'm noting down your solution, your suggestion. We'll discuss internally and we'll see the best feasible way to implement these. So that's about the kind of dissatisfied customers we face or we may see and how to handle them. Moving on to what are some of the things that we should avoid, pitfalls to avoid during a clean care session. So starting from the top, siding against the organization is bad, really, really bad. If a patient comes and tells you कि ये क्या है, आप बिलिंग कैंसिलेशन के लिए इतना टाइम देते हो, पैसे लेने के लिए तो इतना जल्दी हो जाता है, बट जब मुझे बिल कैंसिल करना है तो आप बोल रहे हो 4 दिन बाद पैसा मिलेगा. डोंट एवर से दैट आई नो सर, ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का मैंने खुद ही बहुत बार कंप्लेन किया है, पर ये मैनेजमेंट सुनता ही नहीं है सर, ऐसा ही है, मैं 5 साल से बोल रहा हूँ. Bad, 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 very, very bad. It takes away your credibility. It takes away your personal credibility along with the organization's credibility. And it's not going to do any good to you or the organization. Okay. It also kind of makes them feel that if you are not liking the organization and you're still working there, what kind of credibility do you have, right? And what kind of character do you have? So don't ever do that. Overreacting is the second fault. Sometimes if someone's, especially with the aggressive kind of customers, if they are angry, we kind of match to their tone. Sometimes our tone is even bigger than theirs. If they are angry, say into 10%, I would be angry 30%. That's bad. For two reasons. One, you are raising your BP and you're not going to come to a resolution. All those people listening to your tone going up kind of are losing respect for you. One. Two, If you just stay calm for 10 seconds, allow that person to finish their sentences. And it generally doesn't take 15 to 30 seconds to complete what the patient is saying. Don't be judgmental, don't overreact, don't kind of show the facial expression of saying, what are you saying? I mean, we have that expression, right? If someone comes and gets angry to us for no reason of our, no fault of ours, we show that facial expression of what the hell. Don't do that. Be conscious of what your body language is portraying. It comes with practice. Initially, it may feel like a lot of work because your mind has to really focus on your entire body, especially on the face and your shoulders and your hands. Starting practice help us not just in professional life, but in personal life as well. Because the communication or any kind of complaint handling is going to stay with us wherever we go, whether we go from one organization to another, whether we go from the hospital to our home, wherever we go, it is with us. Okay. The non-verbal behavior, we have to be conscious of what our body is signaling, what our tone is signaling. Taking a run around. Sir, वहाँ पे जाइए, वहाँ पे वो team को complaint कीजिए, and that person is sending to reception, the reception is sending to first floor is sending to some admin office. Don't do that. If you were in that situation, you would be dead frustrated. So don't make somebody else frustrated. Poor listening, and most of us are poor listeners, including me. I'll tell you, we would like to believe that we are good listeners, just like we would like to always say we are good drivers. Um, jokes apart, we need to improve our listening a lot, and there is a lot of room for improvement. And like I told you earlier, I am going to come back with a video on listening. Citing organization policy, sir, ये policy है, ऐसा ही होता है. You have to, I mean, I can't do anything. This is the organization policy. Instead of saying that, listen to the patient, listen to the complaint, say that there are certain policies that our organization has. Let me look at what we can do. I'll take your complaint in detail, and I'll let my manager or let my team know about this, and we'll see what we can do. Saying that much will help. We just have one more task of calling the patient back, maybe the same day, within 24 hours is the best. If we are able to call the patient back in the end of the day and say that we've had a discussion, but this there are and cite a reason for why the policy was made. Okay, if there have been experiences in the past, or if there is a legal body that prevents this from happening, something from happening, or it's the system that is built that way, cite the reason why this policy was made, and then say that because of this I will not be able to do this, but I can do this instead. Give an option. Be soft to the patient. Instead of saying sir मैं full refund तो आपको नहीं दे पाऊंगा in cash, but what I can do is I can give you credit, and that credit you can use for whatever services our hospital is offering. I mean, be as flexible as you can within the rules and regulations of the organization. Okay, but make sure that you give the complete picture. Don't just say कि policy है sir हम cash नहीं देते refund. Instead of saying that, if for example I say कि सर पास्ट में ऐसा हुआ है कि हमने कभी भी कैश रिफंड किया है तो हमारा कैश टैली में इशू आ जाता है, उसकी वजह से हमारा बहुत सारा टाइम और एफर्ट उसमें चला जाता है सर, और ये सब फिर एंड ऑफ द मंथ वो टैली करने में इशू होता है. इसके लिए हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने ऐसा पॉलिसी निकाला है सर कि कैश की जगह पे हम लोग क्रेडिट देते हैं, तो उसकी वजह से कैश में इशू नहीं आता है सर. तो मैं आपको वो करके दे सकता हूँ, क्रेडिट करके दे सकता हूँ, और वो क्रेडिट का आप बोलो आपको कितने टाइम का वैलिडिटी चाहिए, हमारा मेरे हाथ में जितना होगा मैं उतना दूंगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट. आई मीन जस्ट साइटिंग एन एग्जांपल. So something like this, be a little soft on the organization policy itself, but instead of saying straight away ये policy है, नहीं चलेगा. Becoming defensive, this also kind of relates to being the overreacting bit. Sometimes when we are defensive, only then we kind of overreact. So this is not a person's fault or an organization's fault. If something has gone wrong, it's not an employee or a patient at fault. We have to keep this in mind. If someone has had a bad experience, it's not you. Even if the person complaining to you is saying that your organization has done this wrong or whatever, I mean, it may feel for a moment that the patient is kind of blaming you for it. For example, if someone has been waiting for 2 hours, 3 hours to meet a doctor and has not been able to meet anyone, does not have an update, he may come and start shouting at you, saying that senior citizen है, इतनी देर से बैठे हुए हैं, आपको समझ में नहीं आता. आपको समझ में नहीं आता doesn't mean he's saying that you are the one at fault. Don't become defensive. So if you don't become defensive, you don't take it personally, you don't overreact. Okay, be empathic, kind of, I won't say be in the shoes of the other person, but instead look at the picture that they are seeing. Instead of looking at the picture you've been seeing, look at the picture they are seeing. They have been waiting here for 4 hours without an information with a senior citizen patient, right? Look at that picture and then you talk about the solution or whatever you can do, whatever you cannot do. Moving on, the three important steps in skillful receiving of complaints. Resolving is the third step. So first and second steps are the most important from the point of view of receiving the complaints. So the first part of receiving a complaint is to listen without interruption. This is simple. Just hold your kind of urge to talk in between, unless the patient has. Once somebody starts talking, wherever appropriate, smile, stand up. Those are basic courtesy steps. If the patient is standing up and you are sitting and listening to him, that shows rudeness. Stand up. If possible, if there's a desk in between, and if it is possible for you to go outside of the desk and kind of make him sit with you and talk in a separate room, in a quiet room, those are a given. Listen without interruption. Let him complete. Avoid getting defensive. Avoid saying, this is not my fault. Why are you telling me? This is not in my hands. Why are you telling me? Okay? Don't get defensive. The patient is only complaining about the situation, not complaining about you. Use sad but glad statement. This is again a very powerful statement. And the way to use is to say, okay, sir, I'm really sad that this has happened to you, but at the same time, I'm also grateful. I'm also glad that you brought it up to me. And that gives us an opportunity to look at us, look at the problem, and kind of be able to resolve it. Express empathy. Say that if I was in your place, I would have been angry, or I feel that you've been you felt hurt, or I understand why you're angry, or anything. Use the word, use the it is possible to name the emotion that the patient is using. Either you say, I understand why you're frustrated, I understand why you're angry, I understand why you're sad. Use the word, name the emotion. Be mindful of your nonverbals. Ask questions to clarify the problem. If the patient says that I've been waiting for 4 hours, ask in detail what happened. Tell me everything what has happened. Okay. Do not justify unless the patient has asked. Don't justify कि sir emergency आ गई तो wait करना ही पड़ेगा and there's no other way. Emergency आ गई तो क्या करें? Don't. That's not the way. It's not the patient's fault that emergency arrived and the doctor has to get busy. Understanding the complaint. So understand what the patient has experienced. Explain what you can or cannot do at the end of the complaint as a resolution, and discuss all the alternatives. If there are two possible outcomes, ask the patient which one they would prefer. Resolution and closure is over here. I've covered very superficial part of it, very part of it. Document complaint and expectations set to the customer. Whatever you have said, whatever you have discussed, whatever alternatives you have told the patient, and what the patient has or accepted, document all of it. Update the right authorities about it. Take action and inform the progress. If it's going to take 7 days, update the patient that it's going to take 7 days, and you may call at the end of the seventh day. Follow up to ensure customer satisfaction. Follow up after you've given the resolution. Just make a call that everything is going okay. We gave this resolution to you. I hope you've received your credit note or whatever. So just give a goodwill follow up call. Documenting the complaint will also have other elements apart from what you discussed and everything. You must note down the name, the contact number, the background situation, how the patient defined the problem. This is much like how a chief complaint is registered. Similarly, what the patient said about the problem, how you responded, what are the options you told, what you promised or agreed to do, any suggestions that you have. So, because you are the one who spoke to the patient, if you have any suggestions about the solution, you write that down, and how you can be reached in case somebody has to ask. So, this is in case when the one who has received the complaint is not the one who's going to resolve it. Okay, sometimes we have a different team for handling complaints, and different team such as quality or any other team who's taking care of customer experience team or whatever. So you have to. So this is in case this kind of documentation is good in case you are not the one who's resolving it. Even otherwise, having a detailed report always helps. So just like how we discussed, the three steps, they are really, really important. Keeping them in mind is going to help us in a long time. That's all I had to talk about in terms of receiving complaints. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Please put them in the comment box below. Thank you. Have a good day.